This is Year 9 textbook, girls. Year 9 textbook, exercise 410, changing the subject of the formula. First question is to make x the subject of the formula. Girls, you're just trying to get everything onto the other side away from the x. So what's the first thing you should move? The plus e needs to move. X to be the subject. Let's go. No. You'll keep the dx here. Otherwise, if you take the dx to the other side, it will be negative. So you move the e. And what does it become when you move that plus e? C minus e equals dx. Now what do? Julie, I want x on its own. What's it at? Yes, you divide by d. So we divide by d. Okay, so that's your answer. So therefore, girls, because that's x times d or d times x, your answer is x equals c minus e over d. Shh. Girls, the main thing here, if you want to make x the subject, we don't want negative x to be the subject. We want x to be the subject. So keep the dx here because it's positive. Move the e and then divide through by d. What about the next one? Girls, this is, tell me what format this is in. Fraction equals fraction, so you can go ahead and, girls, you know this, I would, if I were you don't have to do a complete cross multiply. You know what you do? The c is on the bottom here. Where does it go on the other side? Up the top, next to the d. I'm just going to put it there. And I want to keep the x here. The x is here. Where does this b go? I'm finished. But they're not in alphabetical order. So let me move this up. So girls, when it is fraction equals fraction, I need to move up to the top of the screen. Have you finished writing the first question? Yeah. All right, because I think the top of the screen's a bit clearer, right? So when it's fraction equals fraction, that's go ahead for just switch across the diagonals. I don't want that c down there because it's a divide by c. When you times by c on the other side, it ends up the numerator, up the top. And this b ends up down there. So girls, when it's like that, you can just move things.
Yes, but why aren't you moving the x as well?
Because I want to make x the subject.
But she's saying why are you allowed to do that?
Because, all right, I can show you, girls, you are allowed to just move that from there and that from there. Otherwise, we will do it, girls. All right, let's do it traditional. Let's get rid of that c. So if I get rid of that c, what do? It's a divide by c, I times. So now, if I want to get, so this is bx is dc over e. Girls. I just do this, girls. When it's fraction equals fraction, you can just move things. Okay, now, how do you get the x on its own here? Divide by b. So girls, what I'm going to... No, I divide by b.
But you're timing the other side by b.
No, I've got...
As in the bottom. Oh, jokes, yeah, I get it.
So I'm dividing by b. But the problem is, see, girls, it's much easier to just put it down there. Girls, when you're cross multiplying, you're switching across the diagonals.
Yeah,
the thing is, you don't have to take the whole thing. If it's times, only if there's a times.
You can just take whatever you want.
Yes. So that's dc over b, e times 1 on b. Girls, you can see how this is a little bit... Oh, I know what's confusing you. Girls, when I say you can move it, because there's a times symbol there, if there was a plus between them, no, you can't move it. All right? But if there's a times symbol, you can.
And you can leave x up the top.
So, girls, basically the b is up the top here. It gets moved down the bottom there. But if you want full working out, that's how you do it. All right? Shh. All right. With the next ones, girls. The subject. What should we do before? You can expand if you want, but you don't have to. All right, you can try. P equals what? K. We can just move the K now. I'm going to show you two methods of doing this. So we can expand first. We get P equals K minus what? Now, we want A to be the subject. At the moment, where you can see the A, it's negative. I'd be putting the minus Ka on the other side and making it plus Ka. That's what I'd be doing. Keeping the normal K here and moving the P. And what do you do? So if I take the minus K over the... Now you divide by... So you're dividing the other side, the whole of the other side by K. Now that's one way of doing it. I will show you the other way. No. No, girls, the K's don't cancel because this really is, this means K over K minus P over K. So if I cancel that, see they both need to be divisible by K and they're both not. When you've got two numbers over K, they're both over K. If I cancel these K's, that means the P's not over K anymore. Does that make sense? So you do not cancel for this reason. No cancelling. Now, I'll show you the other way of doing this. Girls.
Wait, Miss, why was the final answer K minus P?
Over K because you've got...
Yeah, I get that, but why did you put
No, because I'm showing you why you can't cancel. This is the answer here, but someone said, can we cancel? And I said no, because both of those are over K. And if you cancel this, that P's not over K anymore.
I thought it was because there was minus.
No. You can look, the only time you can cancel is if there's a common factor. Yeah, I'll show you where it is, all right? Now, another way of doing this would be to move the K to the other side. This means P equals K times all of that. So you could divide by K and you get P over K equals 1 minus A. Are you okay with that? This means where you've got brackets, that means times. So this is P equals K times all of that. Opposite of timing by K would be to divide by K. So now, girls, if I want A to be the subject, it's a minus A at the moment. Shouldn't I move the minus A to the other side? Julie, tell me what to do. I don't want a minus A. Yep. And I'll keep the one here. And what do I do with this P over K? I bring it, so I pick it up. When you pick up something and take it over, it swaps the sign. So it's a plus P on K, it becomes minus P on K. So that's another way of doing it. Notice these two answers look different, but they're really just the same. Because girls, you know how I said that they're both over K? What's K over K?
1.
So isn't this really 1 minus P over K?
Miss, would either be fine?
Yes, either's fine, but it shows you why you can't cancel those K's there. And if you want to write this with a common denominator, isn't 1 really K over K minus P over K? So girls, yes, this answer's correct, but if you were asked to write it with a common denominator, you can write 1 as K over K, and how would I write this with a single numerator? K minus P over K, but girls, this answer's fine. You can see that they're all the same, but you've just got to be really careful. No cancelling of K's here, that's the most important thing. Girls, it's okay to stop here. I'm happy for you to stop there, and I'm happy for you to do it this way and stop here. But I'm just showing that if you want to write this with a common denominator, you can, and that they're both equal to the same thing. So girls, let's do the second method for this one. How do you make little a the subject? What would you move first? Question 2F. What would you move first? Yeah, this is 2 pi times all of that. Opposite of timesing by 2 pi would be to divide. Girls. Ladies. Girls, we could expand, or we could do this way where we've got a equals 2 pi times all of that. We can move the 2 pi. What would you like to do now? Little a needs to be the subject. I've got a negative a. Move the a and keep the r here. And what do I do with the other one? Minus. Now, if that's okay, but girls, your answer, and you have to change the subject of the formula in general maths as well. So this is for everyone. Change the subject of the formula to n. We've got 2 choices here. You either You look at the lowest common denominator, which is 21, and you need to get rid of those denominators. So you either multiply both sides or multiply through by 21. So if I multiply everything, like both sides, by 21, it will be 21 times all of this. Now, this is not how I normally set it out. Equals 21 times that. So really, I'm doing the same. You've got a scale and it's balanced. So I need to do the same thing to both sides, which is multiply both sides by 21. It is the same as saying multiply through by 21. Because don't I do 21 times the first one and 21 times the second one? What's 21n on 3? What would happen? You get 7n. Because 21n on 3, 21 over 3 is 7. What happens here, 21n on 7, and you get 3n, is?
21k.
So what do you do now?
10n.
I'm going to show you another way. 10n is 21k. How do I make n the subject?
You divide by 10.
Divide by 10. Shh. Okay, girls, that's one way. Another way. I like it this way, but some people don't like it. Some people really love making a common denominator on the left-hand side. Who likes doing that?
Just you both.
Right, let's go common denominator. You know your little butterfly crisscross, that times that, that times that, that times that. So do the butterfly, 7n
It's not fraction.
plus... No. I'm just making a common denominator. 7n plus 3n over 21 equals k. There's nothing wrong with this method. What else? What do you get here? 10n over 21 is k. Shh, girls. Now, girls, what do I do now? 21 to the other side, so I get 10n is, isn't that times 21? And now divide by 10. Girls, this is where you can put that up there and put down there, but that's okay. So same thing, girls. So two different methods here. The first method is really multiplying both sides, or what we call multiplying through by 21. The other method is a common denominator, making a common denominator and then you times. Okay, question E, 3E. Girls, make n the subject. Can I move this? All right, what are you going to do? I can see fraction equals fraction provided these are kept together. Girls, fraction, like the n minus a is on the top, the numerator, and the b plus c is on the numerator. You need to put them in brackets. We've definitely got fraction equals fraction. That means to cross multiply. So what do? 3 lots of n minus a equals 2 lots of b plus c. I would probably expand. 3n minus equals 2b plus 2c. We're trying to make n the subject, 2b plus 2c plus 3a, because we're trying to make n the subject. Now what do? You divide how much of it? All of it. Girls, we're dividing, what we're really doing is dividing both sides by 3, but on the other side you've got 3 things. So all of that needs to be divided by 3, not just the first thing, not the last thing, all of it.
Can I write instead a plus 2b over 3 plus 2c over 3?
You could now write this, if you wanted, all individually, but I'd say the answer looks like that. This means, but I'm just showing you that this is what this means. What's 3a over 3? You could... Girls.
The answer was 3a plus 2b plus 2c.
Excuse me. Girls, the answer has got the numerator written in alphabetical order, 3a plus 2b plus 2c over 3. All right, next. Girls, please. Do you think you know what to do with C? I'll move it up. Multiply through by? I can just do that one. Do you want me to do that one? 3c.
Oh no.
It's the same.
But Mary, some doing like order, you can't just go D, E, and C.
Girls, what do you do here? Try it. Can you try it? Girls, it doesn't matter that it's B and K. It is done exactly. Girls, I want a common denominator, or I want you multiplying through by the lowest common denominator. Which one? Girls, do it exactly the same as what you did up here. It's just that you don't have numbers. What do you do? Methods are the same. What are you going to do? What do you want to get rid of? The B and the K. You need to get rid of that divide by B and divide by K. BK's,
minus MB equals to BK.
you can go common denominator, or you can multiply through both sides by BK. I'm fine with both. So, two methods. Lowest common denominator is BK. You can multiply both sides by BK, or multiply through by BK. I'm fine with that. So, it's BK times both sides, or we can go common denominator on the left-hand side. Girls? This is question 3C. Shh. Girls, you either go common denominator or you go multiply both sides by BK. What would you get if you multiplied by BK? You get AK minus...
Minus BN. So did you add the equals 1 at the end of it?
No, that was part of the question. That's the question. Excuse me? Girls, do you know what you're doing? Girls, you need to get rid of this B and K off the denominator. So the lowest common denominator is BK, so you either multiply both sides of this equation by BK. Here you'll get ABK over B, and the B's cancel. Here you'll get BKN over K, and the K's will cancel. Now, I want, which one's supposed to be the subject? N. All right, this is a problem. Take the BN over here, AK minus BK, and divide through by B. No, I'd put AK. Shh. Girls, the other method of common denominator is to go AK minus BN over BK is 1, to go common denominator on this side. Two fractions, making the denominator BK. Then taking the BK to the other side, and then continue the same as that. Okay? Then just do it the same as that one. Shh. So girls, we've got two different methods there. Please, if you're not ready to multiply both sides, stick with the common denominator method. Next, shh, girls, I'm doing question 4. Please stop talking. I'm doing 4B. No, I'm doing 4C and 4G. 4C and G. Shh. Can I move this or no? 4C and G for those that want to start. 4C and G. Make T the subject.
This is the one there.
I'm doing these. 4C and G, T, make T the subject. Girls, I'd like to get started. Question, we moved the T squared to the other side because it was minus T squared, and we moved the K here. We need to do the opposite of squared, which is to square root, but when you do that, you must take plus or minus the square root of the other side, making sure that you put all of the U minus K in brackets. The reason for this can be shown here. If x squared is 25, we know that x is really could be negative 5 times negative 5 could be 25. or positive 5 times positive 5 is 25. So x is plus or minus the square root of 25, which is plus or minus 5. Next question, fraction equals fraction. Let's just move. Girls, when you cross multiply, ladies, you can only do it for fraction equals fraction, and you can do half across. You don't have to move the whole lot. So it's 9, or instead of cross multiplying, you're just getting rid of the divide by 4 and timesing the other side by 4. And you get t squares is 36 on a squared. So girls, t is plus or minus the square root of them both, which is plus or minus 6 on a. Plus or minus 6 over a. Question 5 is next. The opposite of what we've just done. I'm going to do question C and G again as well. Make C the subject. Question 5. 5C, 5G. Shh. Girls? Okay. I'm moving. And we can see that the first thing we need to do is get rid of the square root sign. The opposite of square rooting is to square, so we square both sides and we get y squared equals c minus 4. Need to make c the subject, so we need to move this minus 4 away, so we add 4. And we get c is y squared plus 4. In the next question, again, you have to make c the subject. So what are you going to move? Girls, what are you going to move? Be careful. Don't get rid of the square root yet. The only time you get rid of the square root is when it's the last thing on that side to do.
See the subject here. We need to...
That square root you get rid of last.
Oh, we're getting rid of the square root last. Okay.
Last.
So what we need to do is...
You can only get rid of the square root when it's on its own on that side.
Move the D.
Move the... No, two things on their own. Move the B. So A minus B equals D root C. Girls, I don't want anything squared yet. I mean, you could, but I don't want it squared yet.
You need to divide it by D.
Yes, you need to divide by D. But you know what, actually? All right.
Miss, remember I'm answering the question. Now we've got a square root.
No, what you need to get rid of the square root, which means to
Square it.
square both sides. But girls, you've got to square the numerator and the denominator.
You can just put it all in brackets.
Yeah, I'm doing them. Look, you're supposed to square both of them, but when you square all of it, you've got to square the numerator and the denominator, okay?
And
Now,
then what do you have? You've got A minus B squared over D squared equals C.
A, that's a perfect square.
Oh, miss.
A squared minus, you don't have to, but I'm doing it because I would never want anyone to do it incorrectly. Because still, in year 11, people aren't expanding perfect squares correctly. You will end up with A squared and B squared, but minus 2AB. I would say that the answer in the back is just probably this. They're probably not expanded it. I'm not sure if they've expanded it.
No, they didn't.
They did or didn't. Girls, shh. In the answers, they did not expand it, but I just thought I'd point it out. Subject appears in two places. So when the subject appears twice, girls, the problem is you want it only to appear once. You need x equals something at the end. You take everything with x to the left-hand side. So you take everything with the x, with your subject, to one side, and then you factorize, and then you'll know what to do. So what you've got to do, if you want x the subject of the formula here, your purpose or your aim is to have all the x's together, and then you'll factorize out. Then you'll factorize out the x, and when you factorize out the x as a common factor, it will only appear once. Okay, so, but before, that's your aim. That's what you've got to do eventually. But first you've got to manipulate. So what would you do here first? Tell me what you don't like about this. The fraction. So let's get rid of this divide by x. Where do I...
AX.
So I get ax is 1 minus x. Now, you're trying to make x the subject, but it's appearing twice. So what you do, put everything with x's on one side. So keep the ax here,
X
plus x equals, and keep anything without the x on the other side. Now, to make x only appear once, you factorize out the common factor x. X bracket a plus 1 equals 1, and now x only appears once. So the only way to get x appearing once is to put everything with x on one side, anything without x on the other. A plus 1.
If it's in brackets, you keep this.
Yes, you keep it. Yes, you're just, it's x. Instead of timesing by all of that, I'll be dividing by all of that. So you don't go changing signs. Okay, girls. What do you do? It's a fraction. I don't want a fraction. How do you get rid of this divide by that? Times by a plus x. Shh. Girls, instead of, we don't want this divide by a plus x. Where you've got fractions and numerators or denominators with more than one thing, when you move them, you've got to move the whole lot.
I'll bring it over.
All right, girls, make x the subject again. So we want x the subject.
Miss, do you switch it?
What would you do first before you switch anything? Don't switch.
Bring it over.
Expand. VA plus VX equals A minus X. Now, girls, the important step here. Anything with X's on one side, anything without X's on the other side. So, no. Keep the VX here. No, keep the VX here. Bring the minus X over to plus X. And now everything else has to go on the other side. Keep the A here. Minus VA. Girls, can you see I'm identifying anything with X's and they've got to go on the left? Anything, yes, now you factorize to make only one X appear. No. Oh, you can factorize the other side if you want. You don't have to. Look, the answer may have it factorized. Look, I'll factorize it. I'm going to factorize both sides because maybe in the answer it is. How do I, so we've got V as X as a common factor.
And then you have to go x equals a 1 minus v over v plus 1.
Over V plus 1. Yeah, because it's X times all of that.
Miss, in the answers, it's not factorized.
Yeah, girls, in the answers, they've kept it as A minus VA. No. Girls, in the answers, it's left like this, okay? In the answers, they did not factorize. Okay, they left it like that. I'm sure you can do this next one. This is easier. What are you going to do? B. Because I need to make sure that you girls are okay. Because I'm a worrywart. Shh. I don't need to do question 7. Question 8's all mixed. You're all fine.
I am so hungry.
Shh. Girls, excuse me. All right, this one's easy. B's easy. What do you do? Okay. Girls, you done? You must have finished. Girls. Shh. So, X, M minus N is P. What do I do now? Shh. Now, girls. Girls.
I wanted to secretly, I wanted to
Question 13, further applications.
I'm looking further out.
Yes. Girls, you need to listen.
Yeah, but on here, there's like 10 seconds.
One to do it with. So girls, question 13D, C equals A times the square root of B squared plus 9. It says for that formula, you can see down here, state any restrictions that must exist on the variables, rearrange the formula so that the variable shown in the brackets is the subject, and then state any restrictions that must exist on the variables after the formula has been rearranged. Now, girls, you know whatever B is, doesn't matter if B is negative or positive. What's B squared always going to be?
Positive.
Positive. Okay, so do you think that B could take on, is B allowed to be any value?
Except 0.
Yeah, look, let's just change the subject for a sec. So girls, I can't see why B couldn't be a negative number.
Because plus minus.
Because girls, you know, the only main thing is that you can't do the square root of a negative. So no matter what value of B, see, we see a square root sign here. And the only thing we think is I can't do the square root of a negative number, right? But no matter what value of B that you choose, B squared's always going to be positive. So this will always be positive, what's under this square root sign. So if I chose B as -5, don't I get -5 squared is positive 25, plus 9 is positive 34, square root of 34, that's allowed. There's no way that that could ever be negative. I think I can find one that will be negative for you so you can see what I mean. All right, so with question 13D part 1, do they say there's any restrictions on the variables? No, don't worry. We'll continue that one tomorrow. Homework is Year 9 textbook, exercise 410, questions 1 to 8, last column, and questions 9 and 11.